welcome to this podcast. I'm so happy that you accepted the invitation. Actually, we met on a summit in Coimbra.
Okay.
And I bought your book and I read it. And it actually was one of the inspiration why we are here today.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today. I am so grateful that you had the opportunity to read the book. I actually remember you because your name is spelled with a Y.
Yes.
And not that many Marianas are spelled with a Y. So I remember you.
Yeah, so and you mentioned also, besides of the book, I know it's really famous and it's inspirational, and it was really a motivating point from me too. But there is a caption that you mention in a lot of articles now, that is, now it's me, my family, and my friends. How did you get to this point? Can you explain a bit how it's your life now that you retired from Microsoft and you are now as a 34 years old woman that just have her freedom now, lives her authentic life? How did you become to this point?
Well, it's been more than 20 years planning my retirement, to be honest. It all started when my father passed away at 54 years old. And I really didn't imagine spending my whole life working for others to be able to make a living and then not even being able to enjoy my retirement. So since my father passed away, I was 27, I said to myself, you know what, I need to save enough money to retire before everyone else, before the age of 66 or whatever is the legal age for retirement right now through Social Security. So that's what I did. I planned my financial independence. I saved money. I invested a lot. And last year, I gave the grito do Ipiranga, as we say in Portuguese. I screamed freedom. The truth is that when you leave college, you sell your time in exchange of a salary. And what I wanted was my time back. And I said, I don't want your salary anymore. I want my freedom. I want my time. And so now I think I'm blessed to be able to choose whatever I want to do on my day today. Usually my routine includes waking up around 6:37, getting my daughter ready for school. It started today, yay! Getting my daughter ready to school, and then I go and I train with my personal trainer at the beach. Today is Tuesday, so it was upper body, so my arms really hurt today. After that, today is Tuesday, I have a surf skate class with another teacher. Then I go home, I shower, of course, check some emails, have lunch with my husband every single day, and then maybe I come and do a podcast or I do a speech somewhere, and then I pick up my daughter from school, bath, games, homework, dinner, and then repeat again.
Wow, amazing. I guess everyone wants to have a life like this. But to achieve this, I believe there was a lot of struggles and challenges in your life, right? How did you find that inner power, and how did you plan actually everything in those 20 years to achieve the life that you love? How did you did it?
Well, it's all here in the book. It's in Portuguese, though. But I come from very humble families from the suburbs of Lisbon. Both my parents had 2 jobs to be able to give us a little bit more of comfort throughout our life. My sister and myself, we started working really young too. I remember my father, I wanted this pair of jeans, the Levi's, and he said, well, no, they're too expensive. If you want them, you go and work to get them. And so from early stage, I understood that money was something that was very important, and it wasn't that abundant in my family. So something that we needed to take care of, that we needed to make sure it was well spent, and we needed to understand where it was going. So throughout my career, and it started early as high school, I envisioned my career and what I wanted to follow through. And it started by going on a auditing career, leveraged by a high school teacher. I did 4 years in Deloitte, and then I didn't have work-life balance. The truth is that Deloitte is an amazing school to start working there, but then I had no boyfriend. I lived alone. I couldn't attend birthdays or anything. I really did not envision my life like that. So I wanted to change. I went to Microsoft. My work-life balance increased a lot. But with 1 year at Microsoft, my father passed away, as I said before, and I re-equationed everything. I was still a very ambitious person. I have always been very ambitious, and I wanted to be the CFO of Microsoft Portugal. And so I did a career development plan. On the first day that I joined Microsoft, my manager asked me, "Have you done your career development plan?" I'm like, "Did what?
What
Like
is that?
what are you talking about? Like, is that something that I need to learn?" She's like, "No, you need to do a plan. What do you want to be when you grow up? What is your, your vision for your career? What do you want to achieve?" And because I was ambitious, I said, what's the biggest thing that you can be in finance? And she said, "Well, that's the finance lead. That's the CFO." I said, "Well, sign me up for that.
I want to be that.
I want to do that." There was a mix of laughing with, "Wait, are you serious?" But the truth is that I wrote it in my career development plan, the first one that I did at Microsoft. And the first action that I took from there on was, okay, I need to speak with the current CFO to understand what are the competencies that I need to learn, that I need to acquire to be able to get this job. And she told me, she gave me a list of 20 things that I needed to develop before I could get there. And so I started my career here in Lisbon, went to Seattle, went to Paris, went to Brazil, went to Miami, went to Madrid. And in 2018, I came back with my dream job after developing all those things that she mentioned as the CFO of Microsoft Portugal. And then after achieving my dream job, and I had my financial independence because I was saving and investing at the same time, I kind of took the decision to, I have the money not to do anything. So why not leave all this behind and enjoy my next life? I call it my second life.
Yeah.
There's this really good quote that I put on the first page of the book, to be honest, from Confucius, which is, "We all have two lives. The second one starts when you realize you have only one." And for me, the death of my father, and then my mother a couple of years later really made me understand that, we have only one.
Yeah.
This is my wake-up call, and I need to change this. So for me, you were asking about the downs and the things that happened that led me to come here. For me, majority was the passing away of my parents that really shook me up and that really kind of motivated me to take control of my life, take control of my financials, and kind of follow a different path from the ones that people usually follow.
The traditional path that we all in the society right now, right? And we all follow like this constraint of the traditional work. We need to do that and follow what the crowd is doing. I'm curious, how did you find like that resilience to follow your plan to become the CFO of Microsoft? And the second one is, when was that actually point of your life that when you decided, okay, this is now my second life, this is the point when I'm going to say bye bye Microsoft, and now it's me, my family and friends?
When you do a career development plan, such as the ones that I did, and the good thing about the career development plan is that I wanted to be the CFO of Microsoft Portugal. That was my end goal. And I knew all the competencies that I need to get in, and I made a plan how I would develop each one of them. But the thing is, sometimes your plan A doesn't work out. Sometimes halfway through the path that you're building to get there, you realize, wait, this is not what I want. It happened to me in Deloitte. When I was in Deloitte, I wanted to be the partner. I wanted to be, again, because I'm ambitious, I wanted to be the highest thing in Deloitte. But then I realized that the work-life balance, it was not where I wanted it to be. And it was something that for me was a breaking point. Like, I am not willing to give up my work-life balance in order to achieve this. So I didn't have a career development plan written in stone like the other ones, but mentally, this was the shift that I did. And there's no shame of changing and rebuilding and reimagining our career development plan. And I think that's part of the bumps and the challenges that we face. another challenge that I faced also, of course, is bad managers. You're building your brand, you're developing your competencies, you're growing, you're maturing, um, you're 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 reaching points where sometimes you find people that are managers, that are direct lines to you, that don't inspire you, and sometimes even make you doubt yourself. And at some point in time, that happened to me. It was very, very, very harsh. I doubted my competencies, I doubted my ability to deal with problems, and it's very hard uh, being in a company where you are so connected with the culture and then you report to someone that you see doesn't live the cultures and the values of the company. And it puts you on a very tricky position on how to deal with this situation. Fortunately enough, I had good mentors back then that really helped me find my way again and overcome this struggle that I found. And I guess we all find those bumps in the road when we're building our career. It's not all smiles. I also had a burnout. I think it only someone the other day said only people who really want the best are the ones that burn out. If you don't care about your job, if you don't really don't care about the outcome, you don't burn out because you're like, eh.
Yeah.
It's only people who are usually people who are very, very keen on having a good job, on delivering an excellent level. Those are the ones that burn out. Not to say that I didn't, but I burned out. And I like to think that I was at an excellent level, but I did burn out. And it's another struggle that I faced at some point in my career. It's super harsh because you feel sad, you feel angry, and you feel like you can't reach every place, but you always think in your mind that, tomorrow is going to be better. Tomorrow is going to be better. And it's super hard when you realize that, well, no, tomorrow it's not going to be better if you don't stop and take care of yourself, right? It's going to go down the drain. When we ride on the airplane, I always wanted to be the hosts, the ladies that go on the airplanes. And so when we go on the airplanes, the ladies say, the ladies or the men, in case of plane crash, blah, blah, the oxygen masks are going to come out, reach for one, apply it over your mouth and nose, breathe normally. We should apply the oxygen mask in ourselves first. Because if we're not okay, we're not going to be able, anyone who is sitting next to us, being it our sons, our daughters, our husbands, or even someone that we don't know.
Yeah.
And the same applies to our corporate and work life. If we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't put ourselves first in our personal and private lives, we won't be the best professionals and we won't be able to deliver. So yes, there wasn't all roses. I had my bumps in the road to be able to achieve the role as CFO of Microsoft.
Yeah, you mentioned about burnout. And I also read on your book that you mentioned a new word that I think no one knows it so much. The rust out. Yes. Could you also explain a bit what are the differences? Because me and my experience, I also was close to burnout because I always was on the achieving. I want that better. I want to deliver this even before the deadline. So I went actually almost to the burnout. And in our society, there's a lot of people that suffer from that because we are in such a speed right now. That's why there's a lot of people with anxiety also. Can you explain how did you overcome that? And what is the difference of rush out?
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to be diagnosed, I would say, early on my burnout. And I knew exactly when I started crying on that day at the medical office, and the lady was like, "Well, you need to take some time off. You are not okay." Yeah. Immediately I looked at myself, on a introversion kind of moment, and I thought to myself, yes, I'm not okay, and I have not been okay for at least 3 months. But I know exactly what are the things that I need to change and what are the limits that I need to impose myself in order to regain my full self again and be able to come back and be stronger. right? So for me, it was about taking the time to connect with myself, to make sure that I re-energized myself, that I could breathe without having palpitations in my, that I could sleep and really rest. So I knew exactly what I needed to do. And that's what I did for 3 months. And then I was able to come back again, fully energized to continue. When you're rust out, it's more about the motivation, right? It's more about nothing that I'm currently doing really sparkles an interest in me. You know, the days are just dull, and I go to work and yes, this is it again that I'm going to do. You know, rust out comes from rust. Rust comes when you don't move something and it's just been oxidating, right? And it's just a long time, you know, when you live close to the beach and you have that breeze that is a salted breeze on stainless steel and it on stainless steel, no, on metal, and it just rusts. And that's how it feels, right? Because you don't move, you just stay in the same place so long, so much time, that you don't feel pleasure in anything that you do. You don't feel excited about going to work. You don't feel excited about going out. You're just in this dull moment that nothing really pleases you or excites you. It's just blah.
Yeah. But how did you search for help or mentors, as you mentioned, or did you found it within your inner power? Like,
Oh, no, I needed help. Oh, no, I needed help. No one can do it alone, I think. Well, I don't know. There's superwomen in men out there, but I do advise you to get help.
Yes.
For sure. No, I did work with a psychiatrist to overcome my burnout. And for me, it was really important because it was the first time that I was experiencing it. And it's such a taboo, right? When we think about at least the Portuguese society, anything that is related with mental illness is just taboo. We don't speak about it. So to be able to say open wide, I had a burnout and I searched for help to be able to surpass it, and I did. It's something that not everyone will be comfortable
to speak about.
Exactly. And so I did ask for help. At the point in time, I didn't even know what was the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Now I know. Go look for it. And I did ask for help, and we had, I don't know, we had one session every week. So during 3 months, so it was several sessions. And it was really good for me to understand what were the things that still made me happy? Why was I feeling like that? How did I get to that place, and how I could get out of it? But at the same time, how I could prevent myself to get there again, which I think for me was crucial. Because in my case, I don't know if it happens with everyone else, but I could see the burnout coming in my direction. There's this mental preparation that I do every single morning, which I call it the 3 buckets, which I translated in the other podcast for
3 boxes.
Exactly. In a bad way. But my family and my friends and the family, and every single morning before the burnout, and for at least, I would say 3 months, when I was on the me box or bucket, it was always like, yeah, I'm not doing so well. Yeah, I haven't exercised and I really need it. Yeah, I haven't eaten so well. Yeah, I'm not happy. Yeah, I'm tired, and every single day there was something, but I would say, tomorrow I'm going to compensate. Tomorrow I'm going to compensate. And for 3 months, at least, I would say, tomorrow I'll compensate. And the truth is that I didn't. And then I didn't put the oxygen mask in myself.
Yeah.
I put it on everyone else around me except for me. And then eventually I didn't really pass out, but I passed out without of oxygen because I didn't took care of myself. And so having this now sounds really easy, right? But having someone exterior to yourself to really walk you through these things and help you prevent from happening it again, it's really, really, really a must.
Yes, you had like a support, and that was there to help you and choose maybe the best practices in your life.
Yes.
That you now maybe incorporated in your current
life. Exactly.
So there's a lot of activities that you may now doing to have this balance that you found from all of these past experiences, right? What are the most that you love?
Look, I think I have never been diagnosed, but I think I have ADHD. So I need to be on the constant move. I have so much. I don't drink coffee. There's coffee here. It's not mine, okay? It's just stage. I don't drink coffee. You could not stand me if I would drink coffee. But I need to be always exercising. I need to spend my energy. So for me, making sure that I exercise every single day, it's a priority. So when I was at Microsoft, I had the lunchtime booked to exercise. And it became a priority for me because when I didn't, I know what happened. So making sure that I exercise every single day for me is a priority so that people around me can stand me and I can be happy and really enjoy myself. The second priority that I think it's crucial is if you have kids, make your kids a priority. And for me, having the ability to pick up my daughter from school, well, now she's bigger, she's 12 now, so she can walk alone. But being able to pick up my daughter from school when she was younger, for me, was a priority that it made my life, my personal life, so much better and balanced. And I tell the story in the book about the time in Miami when I got late to pick up my daughter, and that really made me feel the worst mom in the world. And if we want to be the best employees, if we want to be successful in our careers, our personal life needs to be in order. And for me, that means being able to exercise and do things that I love, such as, surf and things like that. And the second one is making sure that I have time to be with my family. And of course, picking up my daughter from school was one key priority that I never wanted to miss.
And you mentioning that being ourselves is a priority, but in nowadays society, maybe not in all of them, but in the most of us, our most worried thematic is money and work. So how can people prioritize themselves if they always constantly worried about money? And you mentioned you did your amazing financial plan that you now actually don't even have to worry because you're financially free, right? So what advices you can give to people that always constantly worried about money, work, and all of this stress that is caused by our society?
So a couple of different topics there.
Yes.
So the bring your authentic self to work, for me, needs to be a priority. We need to work for companies that respect who we are and as individuals, right? We don't want someone in a company who spends most of their time covering up a particular aspect of their personality or of their appearance to be able to fit in, because that person is not going to be the best professional if they need to focus 50% of their time on hiding something just to fit in. So companies need to make sure they walk the talk of diversity and inclusion, and they need to make sure that they invite everyone to bring their authentic, most perfect selves to work in whatever sense that means. So that's one aspect. And if you're in a company that does not allow you to be yourself, then probably you need to evaluate if it's time to change to another company. Then the second aspect is the balance between working and having the financial freedom to do what I did. So reaching FIRE, the financial independence, retire early. I wasn't born CFO of Microsoft Portugal, right? I didn't come out of my mom's belly and said, hey, give me the salary. Come on. Of course not. As I said, I came from very humble families. And for me, it was crucial, as mentioned before, to have this ambition to understand, where do I want to go? What do I want to reach? You can't aim for financial freedom if you're earning the minimum salary, the minimum wage in Portugal. It's not visible. That's why the first chapter in the book, people say, oh, I was hoping that in the book you just talk about financial freedom. I said, well, in order to have financial freedom, you need to earn the money first so that you're able to save it and then invest it. You can only invest money that you have. If you don't have money, you cannot invest. So if you earn the minimum wage currently, it's going to be very hard for you to save money to be able to invest in amounts that will allow you to have and reach this FIRE movement, the financial independence, retire early. So it's important that you have ambition to earn more money. And what does that mean for you? For me, it meant to be the CFO of Microsoft Portugal. That was my dream. But it's okay. If you're an electrical expert, right? If you work in electricity, it's okay that your goal is to have a company with 5 employees that report to you and you are the best electrician of your neighborhood. If that's your dream, fantastic. There's a lot of people earning a lot of money being in these roles that are more, hands-on roles. So for me, it is crucial that people answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what do you want to reach? Mm-hmm. If your ambition only takes you to the minimum wage, then the two things are not compatible. What do you need to do? What do you need to change? You need to ambition more. But just the word ambition, it's another taboo in Portugal, right? If you say this word, people will go like, oh, that's bad. Because people usually associate it with greed. It's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. Ambition, we want to be better. We want to reach higher. We want to be excellent. Greed, stealing money, doing something bad, completely different things. So that's why I focused on the book on the first chapter is ambition, how to get more money. And then the second chapter is about the work-life balance that we already talked, because we can only be the best professionals if everything else is well in our lives. And then the third chapter about the financial independence, we need to plan. The truth is that we spend 40 plus hours per week earning money. And then when I ask in conferences that I usually go, if people know how much they spend in food last month, only 15% of the people raise their arms. And this is very strange. How come it takes so much time and effort to earn a salary and then you don't spend 1 hour analyzing where your money is going to? This is dramatic. Even yesterday, I sold some stuff on Vinted. Mm-hmm. And I went by this place where they had the Jogos Santa Casa, the gambling stuff, like Powerball in the US. And there was a huge line. Apparently, there's this huge jackpot that is going to come out, I don't know, this coming weeks. People spend money on things just because they think they're going to go rich. People want the easy way out. Yeah. Instead of really planning, saving, understanding investments, understanding where their money is going to, and then making the proper decisions with the money, which is hard work. People now ask me, oh, but you don't work anymore. Well, I still need to manage all my investments, and that's a lot of work still.
Yeah. You mentioned, and correctly, right? So a lot of people, they just want an easy way of things, and there's no easy way. The reality, we need to hard work, right? We need to work a lot, spend a lot of hours on it, planning, as you mentioned, because we need to plan and actually execute that plan. Exactly. Right? In any thematics of your life that you mentioned, or if it's health, or if it's a financial life, or personal life, or professional life, we need to plan it and execute, right? But a lot of people, sometimes they plan, but they don't execute.
Oh, yeah.
Because maybe some taboos or fears, or they don't believe in themselves. Mm-hmm. But you did. You believed in yourself. You were always there, resilient. How did you get those feelings and always constant belief in yourself?
Well, I didn't always believe in myself. There were days that I doubted myself. I still have a lot of the what is it called? When you really doubt yourself every single day is the syndrome do. Oh my God, now I can't remember the name. Imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I have it every single day. But for me, it was always about looking at my career development plan, looking at my financial planning, and understanding that it only depended on me. I had to work hard. Mm-hmm. one of the things that I hear a lot of people is like, oh no, but my manager needs to plan my career for me. No, we don't delegate to our manager to choose our boyfriend. We don't delegate to our manager to choose our car, our house. Why are we going to delegate to him our career? We need to make sure that we are moving towards our objectives. And for me, when something, hit me and threw me off and made me go on the wrong direction, I always thought about the end goal, like what I really want. Mm-hmm. This is a step back. Okay, it hurts. Yes. So let me have the time to grieve and then come back stronger, and for me, it was about, the majority of the time was to make my parents proud also, and to be able to enjoy every single thing that they couldn't enjoy because they passed away so young. So for me, it was like, okay, so now I can afford to stop working. I can have the biggest luxury in life, which is time. And that's the thing that they didn't have because they passed away before their 60s. And that for me was always the end of the line. It's just this inner strength that you have. It's just the motivation of the goal. I work very well towards objectives. Different people brains will work different ways. For me, I work really well with objectives. I know my objective was to be retired I wanted by the age of 50. I was able to do it before. I wanted to be the CFO of Microsoft. And it has always been, okay, so if this is the goal, what are the stepping stones that I need to give, that I need to build, that I need to carry to be able to get there? And sometimes they hit you, sometimes you hit back, sometimes you grow, sometimes you go backwards. But as long as you're fighting and you're conquering and you're seeing that these little steps that you're giving, it just gives you strength. Another thing that for me has always been crucial was to be able to be doing something that put a smile on my face, right? Even now, after retirement, when I thought about what I wanted to do with my time, it was always also about the purpose. Am I doing something that pleases me? If I'm doing something just because I'm earning money, probably you're not going to be happy. So in my book, I talk about this Japanese thing called the ikigai, when you need to find a job that serves a purpose, but also is useful to society, where you earn money. It's this like the combination of things that you need to get together in order to be successful and find something that will be useful to society, where you're going to earn money, where you're going to be happy, and you're going to accomplish your goals. But it's up to each one of us to actually decide what it is.
Yeah, indeed, totally agree. Yes, that's why I'm also here, because I'm following my purpose, and that's why you're here. Thank you so much. One of the also other question I want to put you is,